Oh yeah, quiet on the set. So, my first time ever playing this game was when it came out recently. I never played the GameCube version. From what I understand, the GameCube version was changed. Not only in the controls, but in some other ways. And I don't know exactly what those changes are. But, coming from Resident Evil Remake, which it was my first time playing that when it was remastered, right? I never played that on GameCube either. Resident Evil Remake turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's one of the greatest games ever. Like, it's in my top 10 maybe, right? It's so good. So, obviously high expectations coming into this game, right? Who said that? Oh, Akatora. Thanks very much, Akatora. Chat room, you guys handle that. I'll handle this. I appreciate that. Muchos Garcias. So, high expectations coming into this. And initially, the first thing I felt that I was kind of questioning was the movement. And I had heard about this. In this game, the movement is really weird. It's really slow and clunky, and you can definitely notice it. Now, if you're a remake veteran, you probably know that in that game, you don't really want to kill too many zombies, because if you kill them, later on, they're going to come back as Crimson Heads, right? So you want to dodge a lot of zombies. And dodging in that game is very, very doable without analog controls. But in this game, you can't really dodge. The way you back up and move forward has such a huge delay in this game. So you can't dodge zombies. They're going to hit you if you try to dodge them. So dodging zombies isn't even a part of this game, basically, unless you use analog controls. Personally, I don't like using analog controls because I feel like they take away from the game's original design. A lot of these enemies are not really equipped to deal with an opponent that can run around in circles like this, right? So, on the one hand, I think the game is really hard because you have to actually engage in combat with almost all the enemies, right? You have to fight them and kill them. Which makes it harder than running around them and running circles around them and making them look like bitches, right? So overall, I'd say Resident Evil 0 is harder than Remake. And I think for that reason, a lot of people will dislike it. People don't like hard games, you know? And hard games, a lot of the time, especially if they're really like unforgiving, like this one, you know, even a game like Dark Souls, everyone says Dark Souls is hard, right? But when you die, the consequence isn't necessarily as bad as this game. The consequence in this game, especially considering that you have limited saving resources, could be that you have to backtrack quite a bit, you know? And the backtracking in this game is not nearly as exciting as Dark Souls. It's not like a combat system. It's more like a strategic puzzle kind of thing, right? So I can understand why some people don't like this game. It is a little bit harder. It does feel a little bit clunkier if you don't use the analog controls. But for me, I don't really mind that because I'm here for an immersive experience that looks really fucking cool. And this game does that. The controls are questionable at times. The enemies are really, really dangerous and buff. And I mean, it's fun. You know, it's the enemy designs, I have no complaints about them. Some of them are a little bit more ruthless than others, but there's nothing in this game that's as corny or shitty as the Code Veronica yellow guy that reaches all the way across the room and grabs Claire's titties. Those guys are so whack. The leech guys in this game are really cool. If you ask me, they're super scary, right? When the first time I played that game, this game, and I saw those leech guys, I fucking ran for my life. Like, what's this guy all about, you know? So, overall, I'd say after beating this game one time and I'm in the middle of my hard mode playthrough, I would highly recommend it. I mean, I highly recommend it. This game is super good. I mean, it's super duper good. I love it. I really, really enjoy it. The thing is, if you compare it to Remake, it's a lot more linear. There isn't two versions of the game, Chris and Jill. There aren't two scenarios. Both scenarios are happening at the same time. So, I mean, there are some things that you may dislike. It's not exactly like Resident Evil 1. There, you drop stuff on the ground and the item management system is different. But overall, I like it a lot. And in some ways, I think the item management system in this game is better than Remake, right? In Remake, real survival mode is kind of like the way this is, except you can't drop your items anywhere, right? Real survival mode makes it so that the item boxes do not share inventory, and I prefer that. And this is kind of like that, except you can drop your items anywhere. So, for the most overall, basically, I would say I highly recommend this game. It's fucking hella worth $20 or whatever it costs on Steam. Hella worth it, dude. I paid $60 for Dying Light. That game fucking sucks, dude. That game is trash. $60 for Dying Light. This is $20. It's a hit. If you've never played it, it's a guarantee to me, especially if you like Resident Evils. So I don't know. I like it a lot. Cut. Whoever asked for that review, there you go, man. You got it. Other people have asked too, and you know what? I've noticed that, like, for example, Carcinogen, he really doesn't like this game. In fact, when he plays this game, he's in such a fucking bad mood, it's crazy, right? He doesn't like the game. Fine by me, to each their own. He doesn't like Resident Evil 4 either, right? Carcinogen doesn't like Resident Evil 4. He doesn't like The Evil Within. He doesn't like a lot of these games. But you gotta understand, you gotta look at it through the eye of the beholder. He's a speedrunner. You gotta go fast. You gotta go real fast, right? I mean, this game has enemies that shit all over speedrunners' mouths, right? These enemies do not fuck around. Speedrunners don't like this because these enemies will fuck you up. They'll nut slash you and you're dead, right? Fucking run over, right? They don't like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil and Evil Within because it's so long, right? It's a long game. So, and some of the mechanics in that game have a little bit of random NG attached to them. Same with this game. You know, so whatever, man. I'm not a speedrunner. I'm entering in the style competition, right? And if you think about the style in terms of, you know, immersive, great puzzles, gameplay, fun, you know, it's cool. It's a cool game. I'm happy about it. It's good. Worth $20, if you ask me. I like this game. I'm not a speedrunner, though. I mean, if I was a speedrunner, maybe I'd be like, fuck this game. But whatever. I don't care. That's like saying, you know, if I was a scientist or if I was an astronaut.